Oh, so much better than that. Hello, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hi, my name is Shani Mohammed. I am the Director of Economic Development here at the Greater Wyoming Valley Chamber and Connect. Who's a first-timer in this room tonight? Have never been to a spotlight? A lot of new faces here. Well, thank you so much for coming and spending your evening with us. If you're not familiar with what we do at the Chamber and specifically at Connect, we are the entrepreneurial and economic development arm of the Chamber. So basically, we get to run a lot of really great programming and services around helping people build their businesses, helping people to strengthen their workforce, bringing businesses into the area. And one of the ways that we like to do that is by having this quarterly speaker series that we call Spotlight. So every quarter, we get to do a really great panel of speakers that are talking about some different topic that's really important for the community or really inspirational to other people that are looking to start their own businesses, which of course could not be possible without our friends and our sponsors at the Wilkes-Barre Launchbox and the friends at Penn State Wilkes-Barre. So with further ado, we want to sort of kick off the evening. As I mentioned, this is our quarterly Spotlight series with a different theme every quarter. So this quarter is specifically about manufacturing. It's a brand new topic for us. A lot of people don't think that manufacturing is considered an innovative field or something that entrepreneurs have to work really hard at. That can't be the case. That can't be possible. Honestly, the women that are going to be speaking to this room tonight, I've learned so much from just in the 10 minutes that I was chatting with you guys earlier today. They have a lot of really great expertise to share, so I'm excited for them to be able to share that with you. As I mentioned, these Spotlight events are done in coordination with the Wilkes-Barre Launchbox specifically for Global Entrepreneurship Week. And so to celebrate that, these women are really going to tie in a lot of those innovation-based or entrepreneurship-based topics and throughout their speeches. There is going to be a Q&A portion towards the end after everybody does speak. So if something is a burning question that you grab, jot it down or maybe take note of it and bring it back up in that Q&A portion because I know they're very eager to hear your thoughts. So of course, Connect Spotlight Series would not be possible without our friends at Penn State Wilkes-Barre, at the Wilkes-Barre Launchbox, and the Regional Northeast Launchbox Network. So at this time, I'd like to welcome Kristen McCollum, the Entrepreneurship Program Specialist for the Northeast Regional Launchboxes, to introduce our speakers for the night.
Thank you, Shani. It is a privilege to open today's conversation on women in manufacturing. This region has a very rich history of industrial strength and innovation. And today we celebrate the women shaping this region's future, leading with skill, vision, and the grit that is needed to succeed as women in the industry. Manufacturing is no longer about the product alone. It's also about embracing diverse perspectives that lead to collaboration and high-performing teams. And the women in this field are bringing fresh perspectives and driving progress every day. Their story's powerful, their impact undeniable. As a Launchbox representative and a woman who has had extensive experience in manufacturing, my colleague, Dr. Antahazi, and I are proud to present today's panelist, Darcy Buck, president of a manufacturer that has 125 years of establishment in the region. Cesarina Hidalgo, an operations manager in Little Leaf Farms, which is an ever-changing startup. I wouldn't call it a startup, though. It is rather robust. Kate Logan, a quality systems manager with a medical device manufacturer in the area. And Liz White, a leadership consultant in manufacturing. To get started, I would like to introduce you to Cesarina Hidalgo. Sorry, am I Liz? Liz, sorry. Liz, would you like to come up?
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Before I get started tonight, I would like to do an experiment with all of you, if you'll indulge me for a second. Everybody, please close your eyes for a minute. And I want you to picture a welder. Now, picture a machine operator or a plant manager. Are they men? You can open your eyes. Are they men? Yes, right? For many of us, yes, they are men. And I think this is exactly what needs to change in manufacturing. The vision of manufacturing has to evolve to include women. My name is Liz White. I am a leadership consultant at NEPIRC, which is the Northeastern Pennsylvania Industrial Resource Center. I'm new to NEPIRC. I've only been there for about 5 months now, but it's been a wonderful 5 months. But my journey into manufacturing has been surprising and also not really a traditional path into manufacturing. I spent the last 16 years of my career working for Ulta Beauty. Does anybody know Ulta Beauty? Is that where all your money goes? Yeah. 16 years of my life is over 40% of my life, so I quite literally grew up working for Ulta. And Ulta is a great company, and I was on a pretty solid career path there until January of this year. A corporate restructuring left me looking for a job, right? So it was totally unexpected. I was reeling. I had only worked for Ulta really in my career. Retail was the only industry that I had worked in the whole time. And I had a 10-month-old baby girl at home, so what was I going to do, right? I was just shocked. So I decided to take my own advice that I've been telling everybody about for as long as I worked at Ulta in leadership development. I leaned into my growth mindset, and I thought, this is going to be my opportunity to find a job that's fully learning and development, and it's going to be my dream job, and that's what I'm going to do. That's how I ended up at NEPIRC, and it's been my favorite job so far. I have so much fun there. But the transition I would describe as a little bit of whiplash. So I'm going from corporate beauty to manufacturing, right? So outside of that also, I was working for an $11 billion, 60,000 employee company to a 10-person nonprofit. So I also went from a 91% female workforce to manufacturing, which is mostly men. So culture shock, I think, is the best way to describe my first couple weeks. My second day working there, I asked a simple question out of curiosity. What is it like for women in manufacturing? I'd never really considered it before in this male-dominated industry. Ironically, I asked a man this question. So he couldn't really tell me from experience, but he indicated what we all know, which is that women are underrepresented in this industry. So that conversation sparked an idea. Couldn't we put together programs that are specifically for women building their careers in manufacturing? And he encouraged me to follow my curiosity, so I did. I did a cursory research into some numbers. I found that just 30% of the workforce in manufacturing is women. Only 25% of leadership positions are held by women in manufacturing. And women make 85 cents for every dollar a man makes in manufacturing. So what do we do, right? How do we close that gap? I think the answer is mentorship. So, without women in leadership positions in manufacturing, who do we look up to and learn from to advance our own careers? So because of this, I'm building a Women of Manufacturing Empowerment Network at NEPIRC. It's going to launch next summer. It's a hybrid of mentorship, classroom-style learning, and networking. We're going to talk about some things like navigating bias, setting boundaries, finding your voice and using it effectively, how to negotiate better. These are all things that women are socialized to ignore or to avoid, right? But we're going to change it. So I've met a good amount of women so far in my 5 months in the manufacturing field, and they've all been so smart and driven and innovative, and it really just confirmed this, what I had an idea was true, which is that there's so much untapped potential for women in manufacturing in this area. So we have to tap into it, we have to champion these women, we have to make pathways for them to grow and to lead. I think about my daughter, who's now 19 months old, and I think about what's her future? What is she going to inherit from us? Is she going to have the opportunities that match her ambition? Is it going to be fair for her, right? So My purpose is to create a ripple effect so that I can upskill women who can turn around and mentor other women. And you know, if you are in a position that you can affect this kind of change, I'm going to ask you to do that with me, to create space for women to grow and to lead, so we can have a stronger Northeastern Pennsylvania, and we can strengthen this industry together. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Apologies. I think I officially need reading glasses. Yes, I love the culture shock. I went from manufacturing to higher ed, completely different worlds. I can relate to that. But I would like to introduce the next speaker, Cesarina.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Cesarina Hidalgo. I work for Little Leaf Farms. Who loves the letters here? Lettuce? You guys see lettuce? Okay, good. So probably you shop for Little Leaf sometime in your life. All right, so I'm gonna tell about my story, a little bit of background. How did I start and how I started working at Little Leaf Farm. So after having a calm, stable, and happy childhood back in the Dominican Republic, I can say the real beginning of my story was when I first came to the United States when I was 12 years old. Due to economic reasons, my family and I live in a small room in New York City, 4 people, my father, my mother, my brother, and I. Besides that, I knew that in the United States I had more opportunities to achieve my dreams. So I was willing to stay here and make the sacrifice of living the comfort I had back home. I was doing the best I could, going through the challenge of learning a new culture and language, still made to graduate from high school with the second student with the highest GPA in the New York City bilingual department. Also got half scholarship in Berkeley College in the New York City campus. I decided to study business administration management because I was driven to be in leadership. The fact that I like to be in leadership was more to be in a position where I can help others to also be successful, where I can influence and inspire others to also achieve their dreams. My college career was supposed to be 4 years, but it ended up being 8 years, so I had to stop, drop out, save money, and then go back to finish my studies. In 2022, I started to work for a company that was going to a startup. Startups in manufacturing are very hard because everything is unknown and not even a culture is established. That situation gave me the opportunity to grow from operator level to leadership role in 1 year because I had the opportunity to learn and then teach others what I had learned. By doing that, that's how I discovered what is leadership about. By sharing your knowledge, you can move up by helping others to grow. Every 6 months, I was getting a promotion because I was always getting my replacement ready. I trained and shared all my knowledge to others that helped me to move to the next level. But I was always leaving my replacement ready. Years later, there was some changes in management, and my management style and values didn't align to what the site was complying. I heard about Little Leaf Farms to a friend that works there, and the way she described it seems like it was a great opportunity to join the team. When I applied for the operations manager's position, I was called for an interview, and after taking the interview, my only thoughts were, even if I don't get a job, I'm very thankful for the opportunity of this interview because I just realized that other leaders align with my management style. Days later, I got an offer to work for Little Leaf Farms, and almost a year after joining the team, what drives me more to work every day is the people that help the place to grow and be successful. The type of people that you find in Little Leaf Farms gets up and go to work every day, not only because they need a paycheck, but also because they feel passionate about what they do there. Thank you.
Thank you, Cesarina. I would just like to expand on that a little bit. Little Leaf Farms, I've gotten to know personally, and they got their start in Devens, Massachusetts, and they're ever growing in Pennsylvania. So I know just what a feat it is for her working in an organization that's rapidly expanding in 2 languages. That's no easy feat. Up next, Darcy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for being here with us tonight to talk about women in manufacturing. I'm Darcy. I'm president of a Rifkin company, and I represent the 5th generation of the Rifkin family. The company is a sewing manufacturer, and we've been, it was started by my great-great-grandfather in 1892, and we've been manufacturing in Pennsylvania since then. So my career journey into manufacturing wasn't exactly a straight line. I graduated from Babson College in Massachusetts, go Beavers. I got my degree in business administration with a concentration in marketing. And after college, I really wanted to pursue marketing and I wasn't even really thinking about manufacturing, and I just knew I wanted to continue living in Massachusetts. My dad was fully on board with that plan. He was running the company at the time, and he said, go learn and make mistakes on someone else's dime, that's fine. And he always left the door open in case I wanted to come back, but there was never any pressure to walk through that door should I choose not to. So I did just that. I got a job with a company that did direct mail fundraising for nonprofits. I was on the food bank team, so you may have gotten mail from me throughout the years. Good company, good mission, wrong fit for me. So I started looking for a new job. I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to have more responsibilities. So I moved on from this male-dominated world into sporting goods, which is a male-dominated world. Pardon the pun, I couldn't resist. I got a job with Franklin Sports as an assistant product line manager. For those familiar with baseball, they're the official batting glove of Major League Baseball. So I started out there in the outdoor games and sports medicine division. There were women working at this company, but they were noticeably absent at the leadership and upper level positions. So after working there for a few years, I was able to transition from that division into the baseball division. And then I worked my butt off and became the first female product line manager in the history of their company. So for me, I played softball my whole life. So being now in charge of the baseball line at the premier company for batting gloves, you could have pinched me. So I also got my first taste of being the only woman in leadership at the company. So being in that room as the only woman in there, that experience taught me some things, but one of the things it taught me is that women often have to earn credibility twice. It's not because we're less capable by any means, it's because I think we're unexpected. We don't necessarily get the benefit of the doubt that it's normal that we're in that room, so we have to get over that hurdle first, and then obviously our credibility second. In my role with Franklin, I had the opportunity to go overseas and tour different factories that were making our baseball line. That took me to Vietnam, Indonesia, and China. So I got to see all of this manufacturing firsthand, but I was on the wholesale side for my job. I learned a lot during my time with Franklin. I was doing costing, import fees, negotiating with factories, designing products, packaging, and then presenting an entire line to a room full of sales reps who were also all men. I learned, I made mistakes. I grew both professionally and personally. And for me, being able to grow and succeed in a company where I wasn't the boss's daughter was so important for me. So by the time I was ready to come back and join the family business, I felt excited and not intimidated at all by manufacturing. And I was very comfortable being in what would be considered a male-centric environment because I had just lived that life prior to moving back home. Our company had shifted many times over the decades. I mean, when you're in business for that long, you kind of have to. We started out doing work clothing and patented coveralls, And in the 1930s, we made the shift into security bags. We created the first ever locking night deposit bag for banks. And today we employ about 60 people. We manufacture secure and non-secure bags, promotional bags, commercially sewn items, and we serve every industry you can think of nationwide and beyond. We sell to banks, elections, federal government, restaurants, schools, libraries, amusement parks. If they have cash, paperwork, or supplies, we have a bag that can help them. So here's the secret to being in business for 132 years. It requires one skill above all others, and that is the ability and willingness to adapt, or to pivot, if you will. I don't know if you noticed, I have a Friends jacket on today, so we're pivoting. The manufacturing world changes quickly. Supply chains shift, technology evolves, customer expectations change, but the pressure to preserve quality and tradition really never goes anywhere. So a couple examples of different ways we've had to shift over the years. We have these great big heavy-duty fire shield bags. So it's big, bulky, heavy-duty. It has a fire-resistant lining, and banks used to buy a ton of them. They would use them to send checks back and forth because, you know, back in the day, you had to return the checks. And then they passed Check 21, and all of that business went away because now they didn't need a bag to transport the stuff. It was all digital. We have a line of reusable fabric mail bags. Those also flew off the shelves. They were great. Until one day the post office and the courier services decided they're going to give away free cardboard mailing envelopes to everyone. So our customers would call us and say, we love your stuff, but you cannot be free. And I can't argue with that. So that's kind of, that business evaporated as well. But not all pivots are negative things that you have to hurdle from. I'm always on the lookout for what's the next thing. Are there other opportunities? And just when you think you've exhausted every market, you wake up and a couple of states legalize marijuana, and suddenly you have this cash-based business that banks can't touch, and they need something to move their cash in. So you never know when things are going to pop up. I try not to cling too tightly to the peaks or be too discouraged by the valleys, because at Rifkin, we're in it for the long haul. We've been around a long time. I like to reference the infinite game theory, which the focus of that is that the goal is not to win the game. The goal is to keep perpetuating the game and keep it going for as long as possible. So that's kind of the attitude and mentality that I take on with just trying to keep everything rolling. The great thing with manufacturing is it's always changing. You can always look at the skills and machines and equipment you have in the building and create something different. We're not limited by the things that we can make. It's just who needs what and when. Biggest thing is being creative and problem solving, and one thing I've learned is that manufacturing uses and needs the traits that women use every day. We're creativity, adaptability, the ability to both see and balance the big picture stuff with every small detail, right? I mean, these skills are inherent in women. Have you ever heard somebody say, if you want something done, give it to a busy mom? It's true. In my little corner of the world, the bulk of our workforce is sewing machine operators who happen to be women. So having a woman step in as the leader wasn't really rocking the boat too much because there's a lot of women working for us. Some employees have told me that they've appreciated that I get kind of fired up when I speak to our company. I'm sure some of that is because of my gender, but also the stark difference between my father's style and mine. He's very laid back, and I guess I get really into it. But you know, if I get emotional and over things I'm passionate about, and if that gets people on board with me at my company, then I'll do it every time. I think sometimes people take the women are emotional line and assume that means we're like over there crying in a corner, and it's just not the case. I don't think emotion is a weakness. I think it's a connection. It signals that we care. It signals that, you know, we're right there in the trenches with everybody. So I don't think it's a bad thing to show emotion. At home, I'm the mom of 2 little boys. My oldest turns 9 this Saturday. He's already making big speeches about how he's going to run the company someday. Usually he's on his soapbox when he's supposed to be doing homework, and I have to let him down gently that I wouldn't hire someone with his skill set right now, and he's got to go learn math. But I guess I'm glad that I'm making it look easier or fun, at least through his eyes. But more so than just being a mom of 2 boys, these 2 little boys are being raised in a house where mom is going to work every day and leading a manufacturing company. And they don't think it's weird at all. That's just normal to them. And I think that that is a big first step. I think that we want more women to feel comfortable and welcomed in the manufacturing world. And if that's the case, then we need to, show all of our kids who are going to grow into our future colleagues and future leaders. We want them to see it as just a normal thing too. There's so many different types of manufacturing plants and manufacturing jobs. I think sometimes there's still this perception that it's all very dark, dimly lit, unventilated. So why would a woman want to work there? But we have air conditioning, we've got lighting, we've got OSHA regulations. So if you walk through our facility, you're going to see a nice facility and you're going to see women. We have women working on our manufacturing floor sewing. We have women running our high-speed cutting machines. We have women running our digital printers. We've got production control, quality control, floor supervisor, embroidery, all women, and other women scattered throughout the front office as well. So if there's any tech schools or high schools or colleges that want to set up a tour, I'm serious, let me know. I gladly will open my doors if you want to show students what we have and what is possible. Because I really think representation matters. It changes the culture. Manufacturing evolves because different people with different perspectives share ideas. So if you find yourself in a room and you're doing that and there are no women, you are missing out. If you're raising tiny humans, let them see these women in these roles. Keep normalizing it. Just keep normalizing it. Not just for ourselves, but for the next generation, because like my 2 little guys, trust me, they're watching. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy. I love the representation of women and how important that is, and also the ability to adapt and pivot. That's something we highlight in entrepreneurship. We always have to pivot. Last but certainly not least, Kate Logan in Biomaterial.
Greetings, everybody. Hi. My name is Kate Logan. I am with Noble Biomaterials, and I actually had a title change just recently. I am now the Quality Systems and Sustainability Manager. Go green. So I wanted to share a little bit about my journey. I actually thought that I was going to be a doctor. I thought I was going to go into psychology. My mother was a very well-known guidance counselor in the Wilkes-Barre School District, and my family came from a lot of teachers, and I thought I too was going to be a guidance counselor. So I went to Marywood, and then I transitioned over to Kutztown University. I graduated with my bachelor's in psychology. And then I decided I don't want to do that anymore. So I completely pivoted, and I started working for a family company, family friend-owned company in Pittston. And it was in manufacturing. And I started in production and a little bit of quality, and I completely fell in love with it. And 15 years later to the day, I'm still in it. So from manufacturing, I went from that particular location. I have worked in steel, and I have worked in the plastics. Then I worked in steel, and then plastics again. And now I'm in textiles. So when I transitioned, I mean, I have had exposure to difficult situations where I found out that a group of men that I had worked with actually had a pool going to see how long I would last at a company, which they said 1 year. I beat it. So, I did mostly have male bosses. But there were very, very good bosses that I've had. I had been promoted on 2 separate occasions within a 6-month span, going from a tech to a regional quality manager, which was such an outstanding opportunity. I had worked in union and non-union facilities. Again, bringing the woman to manufacturing. Through that, I started working eventually at Noble Biomaterials. where I'm also on the sidelines. I am a ambassador for NEPIRC for the Dream Team. The Dream Team initiative is that I go to different colleges, high schools, even elementary schools, and I speak with students about the benefits and opportunities of working in manufacturing. Like Darcy said, you know, the stereotype is you picture dark, dirty, dangerous, and that's not what manufacturing is. It does have air conditioning, because I'd die without it. You know, it does have these benefits that, you know, if you start working for one manufacturing company, you could easily transition to another one. And you know, those types of skills are open to any type of manufacturer that you work with. So people just think, you know, manufacturing, it's just an operator. You immediately think operator. You know, there's the material handlers, finance, customer service, commercial, HR, supply chain, and there's so many diverse areas that children just don't know about, so I share that with them, hopefully to inspire our next generation of workers as well. I'd like more female colleagues, obviously. At Noble, we apply silver to fabric, filament, and foam products. They're used in athleisure wear, medical, and military end use. I can't tell you too much about it, no customer names, you know, NDAs. But it's incredible that when you eventually work for a company and you believe in their products and you believe what they can do, it just makes it all the more reason that you're passionate about it. I mean, there's a couple people here I know that I could talk about Noble all day long. But as far as manufacturing, I have to say that I work with mostly women in this particular facility, which is incredible. It's not that often that you get to do that. So we get to share stories, and we get to share you know, our trials, our tribulations, our successes, and it's done, you know, in a group setting. I know that my mother would kind of be a little bit shocked that I transitioned so hard, but I have learned, and I have spoken with people, that it's okay to change. You completely pivot what you're doing in your particular career, and manufacturing is just a great opportunity to grow. Negotiate your pay, negotiate your time off, work from Wednesdays, you know, work home on Wednesdays. That's very precious to me. You know, and also advocate for yourself. You're able to do that a lot more rather than just accepting status quo upon walking in. I'd have to say one of the biggest takeaways for me is always, you know, two things that you'll never forget: traveling and continuing your education. Working with manufacturers and manufacturing companies, they will invest in you and your further education. I myself had attained, I think, 10 different certifications. A lot came from NEPIRC. Lackawanna Leadership, there's very BSI, and you know, with manufacturing, this is where you're going to be given those type of opportunities. So, you know, promote women. If you see anybody, tell them your story, share that opportunity with them, you know, watch this video, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Can we get one more big round of applause for our speakers tonight? Thank you so much for your talks, for sharing all of your insight. I got a lot of really great nuggets that I want to be able to bring back up. But first, I do want to get a chance to hand the mic off if anyone has questions for our speakers. Who feels brave today? Oh, I'll wait. Go ahead. Here, we'll grab a mic for you.
Hello, I'm Donnell from Barber Life Barbershop in Wilkes-Barre, but I just got granted last season to open up Kirby Hut. It's a concession stand in Kirby Park, and I want to ask about the Little Leaf Farm. I want to figure out probably this season we're hoping to bring full-fledged hamburgers, so I'm pretty sure we're going to use some leaves. So y'all offer wholesale also to small companies?
So we do sell some for restaurants, but since I'm not in the sales department in operations, but I can't find out more information, but I'm pretty sure they sell to different restaurants, food chains, and yeah, of course.
Other questions, anyone? I've got a few questions, if you'll let me. So obviously our Spotlight series, it's really geared towards innovation, specifically entrepreneurship. And I mentioned at the beginning that a lot of people don't think that manufacturing is an innovative or entrepreneurial-minded type of industry, which, as you can tell by the ladies that spoke tonight, is very, very wrong. There is so much intense thought and innovation that goes into making an industry like manufacturing work and a sector like that operating and producing the products and materials that we all need today, right? And I think we can all agree that we could not live without anything because everything is manufactured. And that holds a lot of power. So I guess one of my really big questions, and I would love to know, and this goes to any of the speakers from tonight, thinking as an entrepreneur, even if you weren't the one that started your business, but as one who is leading your business, can you talk about some of the obstacles that you faced in the early stages of that leadership and how you sort of overcame some of those? Anyone? It's on the tip of your tongue, Kate. Spit it out.
Good. I'm gonna spin around so I'm not back in. So I took over the company in late 2018 and then immediately had a baby. So I'd say by the time I really settled in, it was COVID time. We're not just cranking out the same pieces like some of the big manufacturers. We custom make different things. So at that time we were kind of we got our permit to reopen 2 days after everything shut down because we serve industries that work, I just forgot the word, essential, that's the one. So we were trying to think of okay, are there things that we could make for the hospitals? Are there things that for the people that are open, what could we do? So being a custom manufacturer, we're kind of constantly trying to think of like I said, we can make anything. It's just a matter of finding the need. So during COVID, that was my first big hurdle into how can we help, what can we do? And at that time we did make some masks, we did make some surgical gowns and caps and a couple other peripheral things, which we immediately stopped once the real supply could do it because our materials obviously weren't what they needed, but times were desperate. So that was kind of how we innovated and just kind of kept weaving our way, and it just happened to be during COVID time.
From experience, I can say that one of the biggest challenges for an entrepreneur is placing your business in an area where you don't know the people, you don't know the demographic, you don't know what talent to attract. I think it's a huge challenge that a lot of companies face, especially in this area that a lot of companies coming from, example, Little Leaf comes from Massachusetts, and companies come from different places and they don't know the demographics, they don't know what type of talent they're gonna attract. And it's, your people is what make your business, basically. So it's very challenging.
Other questions? I'll go back to my list, don't you worry. Thank you for that, and I love the point that you made because it does touch on, and I think somebody said in their talk, the need for adaptability. That is cross-sector, so even beyond manufacturing, every industry that you're in, whether it's technology, healthcare, business in general, marketing, adaptability, and look at what happened this year. So much has changed, and the way that we do things has blown up so drastically in the last 5 years, especially if you're not continuously in that growth mindset of, I'm never comfortable, I'm always thinking 10 steps ahead of how we should be doing things better, how we should be brighter, how we should be more enhanced, then you're already behind because your competitors are doing that, right? And that's what we're always encouraging the entrepreneurs or the early stage businesses that we work with, is to always be thinking that, that in that phased approach. So I love that point on adaptability, and I feel like it's so critical to the success of any business. So thank you for mentioning that. Obviously, we are a chamber of commerce, right? And so what Connect is, it's a collaboration of all of these different entrepreneurial partners and organizations that provide services to people who are looking to grow, right? Those businesses that are looking to enhance and get to that next phase. So we have a collection of partners in our network that help us to do that. And I'm curious, as all of you have worked to expand in your roles and grow your visibility in the community, what role has collaboration played in your success in manufacturing or networking or partnerships in any way? Any thoughts there? Yeah.
Funny enough, Noble, we're hosting what's called Educator in the Workplace. So we have local teachers and possibly professors that come to Noble, and they get to see what the day in the life of somebody in manufacturing is. We tell them about Noble, we tell them about our products. We also make them sign NDAs, but they get to take a tour and they get to see what an actual manufacturing facility is like. And then they could take it back to their students and tell them, like, hey, manufacturing's actually pretty cool. Like, oh, you have a 401k match. Oh, you get full benefits, dental, vision. You can negotiate your pay. All these different types of benefits. So Educator in the Workplace, and then next year is Groundhog Day, where we get to have students that come on site February 1st. Do you know what I'm talking? Second, I'm sorry, February, thank you. February 2nd. So we get a tour of students that get to come on site and also see, I'm talking elementary school students, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So they could also see that Noble on site.
And I'm follow-up question. I'm curious too, because some of you touched on this in your talks. There obviously is a very big influence of technology on each of our industries. Yes, manufacturing actually looks a lot different because of the enhanced technology that is in that industry now. But I'm curious about what trends you're sort of seeing in your specific sectors of manufacturing. Some of us are in agricultural, some of us are in bio and so on and so forth. Can you talk a little bit about the trends or the technologies that are sort of shaping what your specific company is doing right now? Steal a mic, anyone.
All right. Well, I'll just keep
Hold
this
on to
in
the
hand.
mic, actually.
Definitely AI. I also use it to sometimes write to customers, if I'm being completely honest. Grammatics are important, but also we look at people at like the CTC. We're looking for students, internships. We want the trades. We want people in those, trades and understanding those different offerings, because they could go right into maintenance, they could help with the building, they could be a contractor, they could work in a labor or a tradesperson, a millwright. Thank you. Not that you told me, but you helped me get the word out. And so definitely the AI, definitely the trades, and just making everything more automatic.
Those are really big ones, and you're not the only industry to say that. We've been talking to a lot, for sure.
The technology stuff's always been a little bit of a hurdle for us because, like I said, we're not making the exact same item over and over. We do have certain items that we do more quantity of than others, but when it comes to automating, it's a little bit of a disadvantage when everything's not identical. So we do it as much as we can, but we know that we're never going to be able to 100% automate certain jobs within our factory. But certain areas, so we do screen printing, we do embroidery, all of that in-house, so constantly trying to keep up with what's new. We have a digital printer that we didn't have before. We can't get rid of the old equipment that's regular screen printing because the digital we have can't do a metallic ink. So there's always like, we're moving on, but we got to hold on to this until the technology improves and we can do it. So it's more of just like keeping up with everything and making sure you know what's out there for us, and then when it makes sense, jumping into it. We go to different trade shows on these there's one in New Jersey, I think in March, that you can see all the different like direct to garment printing and all those things. So we just kind of go every year, even if we're not looking, because that's always evolving. We used to have GPS units that we would sell to like track cash and stuff that we would sell to banks. but that industry changed so fast, so often that we were doing too much. So just always seeing what's out there, because the speed at which all of that changes is pretty incredible.
Don't go far. I have a follow-up question for you. Oh my gosh. Oh, I do like that jacket. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're the family-owned business, right? Tell me about that. Because that's obviously a very different dynamic. You're not just assuming leadership of anybody's business. It's very rooted in your family for what seems like very many generations. So tell us a little bit about that.
I could talk about that for a long time, but I'll try to be brief. So I'm the 5th generation. The office that I'm in was my grandfather's office. His photos are still on the wall because I feel like I know I can change it, but yeah, I carry a big weight because you don't want to be the generation where something happens and the economy tanks and now you don't have a business anymore. And like I said, my 9-year-old is like counting on me to like have it ready for him should he choose that. And again, I'm not going to pressure him. But I think I was just constantly exposed to it when I was growing up. I would come home from like high school and there would be a block of dry ice in my sink just smoking away, and my parents would be like, do not touch that, because Dad was running an experiment to show how he could open and close the plastic tamper-evident bags without anyone knowing, and our bags are better. So it would just be constant things like that, and he'd come home testing a new zipper and throw it to me, and he'd be like, your allowance this week is unzip and zip this bag 100 times while you're watching TV. Cool, awesome. So there was never like pressure to join the business, but he kind of was like slow exposure. Like we would go in and visit Dad at work, and I was just always around the manufacturing facilities. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my kids. I bring them into work. They love seeing the people. They didn't like seeing the machines for a while because they were loud. But they do enjoy the exposure, and I bring home a little locking bag for them to store their little toys in, just because, piece by piece. So.
No, I don't have a manufacturing background, but I come from a family business, a trucking business, so I resonate with the feeling. I've been working since I was that's not legal, I can't say that. I've been working since I was 13, but it's the same thing. It's the early exposure there, right? And it's this continued pressure to not mess up what they work so hard to build. That's actually a feeling that translates pretty perfectly into building your own business, right? So how many people in here, I know we have a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs in the room, who here actually has their own business or in the process of starting one? Oh, raise them high. If you're gonna start a business, we gotta know. Great, yeah, so that's a feeling you might wanna get comfortable with, this need that you're putting a lot into this endeavor, into this effort of yours, and it's meant to draw impact, it's meant to create a change, it's meant to solve a problem, and it's really, really hard work, and you might be putting a lot of time and energy and resources into doing that. That's the effort that is required in order to make it successful. So even if you're not the one that actually launched that, if you feel that kind of pressure, that means you care about it enough to lead it the right way. At least that's what my dad always taught me. But what do I know? I mean, I'm sitting up here talking to you guys about manufacturing, not driving a truck. But that's really helpful to know as well, because if, like I said, if you have that sort of mindset, I think it lends itself really well to building a really great business or continuing a really great and strong business. Sue, I see you here from the Family Business Alliance. Sue is one of our very close partners through the Connect partnership, helping to service family-run businesses and legacy businesses. Do you have anything to add on the point of family businesses in that regard?
As I drop everything. And we're just so happy to have Darcy as a member of the Family Business Alliance. Family businesses are really the backbone of our area, and really, as I was saying earlier, just like worldwide, this is how businesses got started. The people looking for an income, and then that turned successful, and then people, you hired people, you had that responsibility to keep people employed, and keeps people up at night, and then also keeps them very entrepreneurial, to always be looking for that next adventure, always be looking for that next opportunity to bring income in to help support all the families that the business supports. It's not only the family that owns the business, but they feel that responsibility of all the families that they have in their employ. And there are difficult conversations to have too, that maybe you want to join the family business, maybe you don't. But to have that start, to be going in, to go to the warehouse, to maybe ride your bicycle around the warehouse when you're growing up, that you see it and you grow up with it, that you know all about it. But to go out into the world, to get the experiences someplace else, and to bring back those ideas are what keeps family businesses entrepreneurial and growing and successful in our area. So it's so nice to see that our family businesses succeeding, and closely held businesses also. It's all of our community and all of this creative in manufacturing and everything that keeps our community so vibrant. And thanks to the Chamber and all of their work to get everybody together and share this knowledge. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, my last question, and it's a self-serving question. For anyone who is interested in starting a business, I kind of want to go down the line of all of our speakers here. What's one piece of advice that you would give to anyone that's looking to start their own effort or take over somebody's effort in their family or just assume a high leadership role? What's something that you really want them to know going into that?
Be resilient and be adaptable. That's the only way. If you're resilient, you can overcome any challenge, but if you're adaptable, you can go through all the changes that we live in every day.
I would say for me, because it was passed down to me, when I look back at the other generations and see all the amazing adaptations they've done and things that they've created, it's very easy for me to kind of panic and be like, how am I going to do all that? So keeping in mind that they didn't do that overnight. They took time and, figured it out and waited for the opportunities that came up and always kept their eyes open. So you don't have to do it all at once, and it's not going to happen overnight, and that's okay.
I think personality-wise, emotional intelligence, have true grit, be genuinely curious, inquisitive, and for those those with entrepreneurial spirit is come and be sure to ask yourself the question, is this product or is this offering a need or a want? Do I want to have a fidget spinner or do I want to have air conditioning? Needs and wants. Make sure it's not a fad. Yeah, something that people need every day. Oh, you're just back this way.
Anything to add, Gordon?
Thank you. So, somebody mentioned resiliency. I think every success in life comes down to mindset, really. Don't be afraid of challenges, embrace challenges. They're there to make you better. And it's hard to keep that mindset when you're facing those kinds of things that you think this is the end and what am I doing, and you have self-doubt, but always bet on yourself. We're all more capable than we realize, and it's only through challenges that the realization comes of, I didn't think I could do that, and then I tried it and I did it. And now I can be more brave when I face the next thing. So I think with anything any endeavor that you're taking on, it's not easy to start a business, but the mindset, I think, is the hardest part, and that's what's going to get you the furthest.
Well taken advice. Can we have another round of applause for all our speakers? Thank you so much for sharing all of that really great insight. I think it's all super, super important, especially to the folks in this room. Maybe they don't know that they want to be entrepreneurs yet, You never know where life takes you down the line. It's always good to have some of these skill sets in the back of your mind. It's always good for you guys to be connected with a network like this one. You know, Connect, our launch boxes, NEPIRC, Family Business Alliance. They're all resources in our community that are available for you to use. So if that's ever an interest to you, if you ever want to be working in a space like manufacturing or working in any of those other industries, working for yourself, coming up and meeting us and taking some time to talk to us about it, maybe we can help you start that. I heard a really good quote today, and it made me think of this, was the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. So I do hope you use today as an opportunity to take what you learned and maybe do something with it, meet somebody, set up time to speak to any of our speakers and have a follow-up conversation. I think that's equally as important. And again, another really big thank you to our friends at the Wilkes-Barre Lunchbox for your support of our Spotlight series. We couldn't do it without you. We look forward to hopefully doing more of these in the new year. Unfortunately, it's our last Spotlight for 2025, with it being the last quarter. But I do want to share just a few opportunities that you guys can stay engaged with us for the rest of the year, because we do have a couple of really fun things coming up. The first being our Winter Mixer, which is going to be Tuesday, December 16th. It's going to be held during a Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins game. It's a hockey game. We'll be gathering at Mohegan Arena, the Casey Plaza, at the Ice Level Lounge. And it's a really great networking opportunity. There's going to be an ugly sweater contest if you're into that kind of stuff. It's actually a lot of fun, and all of the proceeds of the event do benefit our local nonprofit, Valley Santa. They serve thousands of children throughout the valley during the holidays. So it's a really great cause and a really great networking opportunity. So if you're interested in keeping conversations like the ones that you've been having today going, meeting additional people in our community and sort of building a network for yourself, that's a really great one to show up to. So you can feel free to scan the QR code up on the screen or come and talk to any of the team members that we have here today, and we can get you some more information on it. Also, we talked a lot about workforce in manufacturing today through a lot of our speakers. If you're ever interested in participating in our efforts outside of entrepreneurship, we do a lot of really great work in workforce development that we would love to involve you in. We do have a program called Luzerne Learns to Work, which provides Luzerne County high school students with a process and a platform to explore career pathways, workforce development tools, local industry career pipelines. It's basically a one-stop shop for all of these kids to be able to utilize a lot of the really great career resources locally and learn about the companies that are here so that they can get themselves introduced to them and potentially retain them here to work for those companies. So through this program, we assist businesses with offering work-based learning experiences to those students. If you do have a business or are planning on opening up a business in the future and you're interested in being more active in developing that workforce, maybe wanting to host an experience or an opportunity, reach out to our team here or go to luzernelearnstowork.org. We're happy to get you a consultation set up with our team. Barb here is in the back. She's happy to set up a conversation and talk to you some more about it as well. Really great way to get our kids involved, to teach them about not just what manufacturing is, but what NEPA can offer. If you want to be a part of that, just let us know. But with that, if you're interested in any of the things that I mentioned here today, again, come up and chat with us after now. We have a ton of food left over, which means you guys are lucky. I'm happy to let you guys early so you can go grab whatever's left. Thank you guys for spending the night with us.